What's up, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. I am t.a.l.a.y.a and I'm a fashion designer. Now, before we jump into this video, I just want you to know that we're not making anything in this video, okay? I know, don't worry. I promise you, I'm going to be making some more clothing for you all. But in this video, I actually just want to share 10 lessons that I've learned thus far since being a fashion designer. Now, for those of you who are new to my channel, I am t.a.l.a.y.a. Again, I am a fashion designer. I've been doing this now for 13 years. A decade and 3 years. That's a long time. It's not that long, but for me, it's something to celebrate. But I wanted to share 10 lessons that I've learned thus far, because when you take the time to actually slow down and stop, you kind of realize, like, oh my gosh, I'm doing the very thing that I actually said I wanted to do. And if I take another look at it, it's going beyond my expectations. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Lesson number 1. The fabric you choose for your garment matters. Whether you're the one who's making the garment or you're taking it to a manufacturer to get made, the fabric matters because it does determine the fit. It does determine the finished outcome. As you can see behind me, this is my button-up shirt. It's a color block button-up shirt, and I'm actually teaching people how to sew. If you want to know how to make this shirt, go ahead and sign up right here. But this particular shirt is made in a non-woven fabric. It's really just a simple cotton. I actually bought this fabric from Joann. Some of the fabric I already had as well. It's just a cotton in 2 different colors, and I decided to color block it. Now, if I decided to make this in a knit fabric, also known as something that's a little bit more stretchy, it'll still be beautiful if it's well made. However, it wouldn't give this clean and more structured type of feel that I was going for your standard button-up shirt, okay? So always think about that. Whenever you're making something, make sure you're considering the type of fabric for the garment that you're making. Number 2, create from your design aesthetic. Now, as you can see, I like color blocking. I'm gonna put up some more photos so you can know how much I like color blocking, okay? Now, when it comes to color blocking, it can be scary for some. Some people don't like color, or they do. I like to mix prints. I like to mix colors. But when I decided to actually hone in on what I truly love, which was color blocking, and that felt authentic to me, I noticed that I allowed myself to create from that space instead of trying to always follow trends or always try to do things that got me noticed. We're human. If you've done that, it's okay. Give yourself some grace. You're learning, you're unfolding, you're becoming a designer. So as you design, create from the most authentic space of you. If you're going to follow a trend when it comes to the fashion industry, because things are in season, things are out of season, if you're going to follow that trend, make sure you add your aesthetic to that thing, okay? Are we clear? You still with me? Let's go. Number 3, always, always, always challenge yourself. If you don't get out of your comfort zone, you won't grow as a person. This applies to life, but especially with designing, when you don't allow yourself to be challenged, whether that's the type of fabric you use, whether that's your design aesthetic, whether that's the silhouette that you use, you will not see yourself grow as a designer. For me, like I said, I like color blocking, but this particular dress, this one, and this one, they both challenged me, only because I kept seeing these ideas and I'm just like, maybe I should make it. I didn't make these 2 dresses for the sake of selling something. I didn't make it for the sake of trying to even bring in new clientele. I made it just because I wanted to make it and I wanted to challenge myself as a designer. When I saw that, it did unlock another level of creativity within me. And it's having me like consider possibly adding in mixing prints and different textiles when it comes to my aesthetic of color blocking and details. But take that away. If you don't take anything else away, take this one lesson away. Challenge yourself always at any given moment. Okay? Number 4, remain a student. You don't know everything, okay? My grandma used to tell me like this. If you can't tell, I'm from the South. I'm Southern. I love it. I don't want to change it. I'm gonna call her my grandmama. You call her your grandmother. I call my grandmother my grandmama. Okay, that's how we say it in the South, grandmama. My grandmama told me, don't get too big for your britches. That same lesson can be applied to fashion designing. Don't get too big for your britches. Just like that. That means remain a student. There was one time, I want to say in 2014, 2015, I was living in LA. I went to college in LA for fashion, and I was working for this bridal production company. And one of our lead sewists, she told myself and my supervisor at the time, we were over the quality control when it came to the different gowns that went out. She told us to always remain a student. She said it doesn't matter how long you've been sewing, it doesn't matter how many different techniques you can always learn something new when it comes to your craft. So when it comes to your craft, don't get too big for your britches. You can always learn something new. I still go on YouTube. I still purchase different books to teach me different techniques, to teach me different methods. I still go and research fabrics, even though, like I said, with this particular shirt, I decided to do it in a woven. I want to go research to see what this would look like in a non-stretch, what this would look like in a silk, what would this look like in a chambray, like what will it look like? I want to remain a student because I want my capacity to grow, and I want to stay humble with this very thing that I fell in love with at 10 years old. So, okay, remain a student. Don't get too big for your britches. Just like that. Number 5, document your journey. I wish I could go back in time and document my journey from graduating high school to moving to LA, to my time in LA, to moving back home, to now I'm living here in Georgia and still designing all of these years. Now, I'm not saying document your journey for the sake of social media. Yes, that's fine if you want to do it that way. I'm now doing it, but I also document my journey whether I'm typing or journaling or speaking with friends or really talking to my voice memo, something that can put this moment and make it tangible on paper or just somewhere for me to see, whether it's a video. I say that because there will be moments that you kind of want to give up. I'm not saying you should. Now, if the moment comes, don't feed the moment of thinking about giving up, but this fashion designing isn't easy, okay? Like being consistent with it and having your dreams and wanting to meet these dreams, you have to be malleable. So document your journey so when you do feel those moments, you can look back and remember, why did I even start? Because your why will help you continue. All right? And that actually brings me into my next point. If you want to be a fashion designer, this ain't for the weak. I'm letting you know that now. Being a fashion designer is not a week. If you just want to make clothing and learn how to sew, yes, go ahead and do that. It's an amazing hobby. It's an amazing skill set to have because it does have its benefits when it comes to sewing, such as improving patience, such as improving mental stability. It really does help with all of that. But the reason why I say that being a fashion designer is not for the weak, because you have this this thought of what you think it should look like, and you want to go into it with so much optimism and positivity of being the world renowned fashion designer until you get into it and you learn and you realize this isn't easy. It will easily spit you up, it chew you in and spit you out. And you have to have tough skin to keep going. It is subjective. People will like it, people won't like it. People will compare it, people won't even acknowledge it. But that's why you have to be so in love with the craft that you still remain consistent on your journey to being a designer, even though you may have not necessarily been seen or you don't really see the fruit of your labor just yet. In the sense of, having your clothing in stores and your dreams coming to full fruition. Number 7, make sure you learn the business of fashion. Fashion is more than just making clothing. Like I said, if you want to learn how to sew and make clothing, you can do that. And if you want to learn how to sew, shameless plug, if you want to learn how to make this shirt, go ahead and sign up for my e-course right here. It's going to be so much fun. It is divided up into 17 different modules, broken down step by step with video included as well as written copy, and the pattern is included. Go ahead and sign up right here if you want to learn how to make this shirt. But back to the lesson. Learn the business of fashion, okay? If you decide to pursue a career in fashion designing specifically, these are some of the things I want you to think about because it goes beyond, like I said, making a garment, it goes beyond marketing. Ask yourself these questions. Who is my target market? Who is going to make the clothing? Who is the manufacturer? Do I have a tech pack? What is the size range? Where do I want to sell my product? Who is my team? These are all of the things you need to think about. How am I going to fund it? Yes, I too have thought about this. Now, when I first went into it, I'll be honest, I didn't know any of this because of the knowledge that I had about this career was limited. Now that you have the knowledge, these are some things that you can take away and kind of like really ask yourself, is this a path that I want to actually pursue? Now that I know this information, it's allowing me to be slow and steady and properly execute. And in the meantime, I can still create and still do the very thing that I love while I work on an actual product. That brings me into lesson number 8. Learn product development. Yes, you may know how to sew. Yes, you may know how to make patterns. Yes, you may even know how to do a tech pack and digital illustration when it comes to fashion. But if you're actually applying this as a business and you want your own brand, you need to understand, how will my product be developed? If the goal is to get my clothing in stores or even get my clothing available through manufacturing and sell it on my website and do a direct to consumer, who is making my clothing? Yes, I can sew the clothing to think, oh yeah, I'm cutting cost. However, I'm taking up so much more of my time. And if I don't have the proper team around me, I can't properly execute and market this product and build a business around this fashion brand from this one particular garment that was made. So learn product development, okay? That is really, really important. Number 9, your network matters, okay? Like I said, pursuing a career in fashion design ain't for the weak. So your network matters. Just like in life, your environment can really influence your mindset, can really influence what you want to do in life if you let it. So surround yourself with other designers. And if you don't necessarily have to. Surround yourself with other creatives. Those like-minded people can keep you grounded, can keep you focused on the very mission that you set out to go with. So in the vein of transparency, I just want to tell you a little bit about my network. I am fortunate enough and blessed enough to have creative friends, but to also have developed friendships with people that I went to college with. And not just like those collegiate friendships, like, oh, that's my girl from college. No, like real friendships. Like, we've been through some things. They have helped me through some tough moments. Those friends of mine still work in the fashion industry. I'm the only one who isn't necessarily working in the industry. I am currently sewing and building a brand and learning how to do product development and getting things manufactured so I can get it into stores. But I pull on these women and some guys and ask them for some of their guidance and some of their knowledge, and they keep me grounded. Like I said, it's not for the weak. So as I'm building my brand with being a fashion designer, they give me nuggets and they kind of support me along the way. And we just bounce ideas off of one another. And they let me know, like, hey, you're kind of tottering outside of your design aesthetic and your target market. Come back over here. So we have those personal relationships, but they can also give me like professional developmental advice when it comes to designing. So your network matters. Surround yourself with the right people. And if that means going out and meeting new people, go ahead and do that. Give yourself that permission to meet new people. It will change your life. I promise you. Last but not least, we've talked about fabric. We've talked about remaining a student. We've even talked about understanding the business of fashion. But the very last thing that I've learned since being a fashion designer that I also want you to take away, keep going. That is it. There's no one moment where you're going to make something and it takes off. There may be, so let me retract my words. There may be a moment where you make one product and it takes off. But after you make that one product and it takes off, you have to keep going. Like, don't let that moment intimidate you. Don't let a big opportunity intimidate you. Don't let what hasn't happened yet deter you from being consistent with pursuing your career. Like I said, remain a student. If you aren't where you want to be as a designer, go and learn something new about your industry. Go and make something else. Go and challenge yourself. Go and study and see, how do I get my garment into production? How do I even do product development? Go and do all of these other things that I've told you to do. For example, in 2023, I had the opportunity of showing in New York Fashion Week. Now, if you are pursuing a career in fashion design, New York Fashion Week is something that most designers do aspire to show in. And preparing for that show, you guys, this is why your network matters, because it was tough, okay? It was tough. I had to do more than just make the clothing. I had to think about, how will this be made? Like I said, I love color blocking. I love style lines. But when you get into production, that costs money. When you get to 4 and 5 different pieces on one side of the garment, that eats up the cost just to make the fabric, meaning not make the fabric, to make the garment. Meaning, if it costs me maybe $125 to make a simple shirt, I have to think about what the wholesale cost is and then what the retail cost is. So all of that was coming into play as I was preparing for the show. Although I didn't sell that collection, it did give me a lot of factors to think about. So now I'm working a lot smarter and not harder. And while I was showing in New York Fashion Week, I met an amazing designer by the name of Busayo. She's an African designer. Beautiful, beautiful prints on her dresses and all of her garments. If you want to know more about who she is, you should check out some of her clothing and purchase some of her stuff. I promise you, it's fire. It's dope. But she gave me like the most amazing advice that anyone could have ever given me in the industry. And the one thing she told me to do was focus on the business. Create one product. Don't be so focused on trying to create a collection. The goal is to sell. Yes, you want to create, go ahead and do that. You want to sew, go ahead and sew. But focus on the business. The purpose of a fashion show is to market. If you're not in a position to sell what you made, don't do a fashion show. And when she told me that, like, my feelings weren't hurt. I was just like mind blown. Like, I knew fashion shows were for marketing, but the way she said it, somehow it just clicked. And it helped me realize, like, oh, this is a longevity game. This is not a quick game. So keep going, because you're working towards longevity. You're not working to quick, fast money, fame, and success. If you're looking for fame and success, this is not the industry for you. Because as you can see, a lot of designers come up, then they come down. We love them, then we cancel them. They're in style, then they're out of style. So you have to be in this because you love it. That is it. Those are the 10 lessons I've learned thus far since being a fashion designer. I hope this really helps somebody. I hope this has allowed somebody to really think about pursuing a career in fashion designing, because it has its pros, but it definitely has its cons. The pros do outweigh the cons, but you have to be willing to take on the challenge of the cons, which is recognizing it's not about fame and it's not for the weak. You have to do it because you love it, and you need to learn the actual business of fashion. So remain a student, all right? With that being said, if you like what you saw, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't. Share this with somebody you may know who wants to be a designer. And until next time, I'm going to see y'all.